Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Elliot Webber. Now, first of all, you're probably wondering, Elliot, you sound a little bit different. Yep, I have an actual microphone this time, a proper one. I don't know if you can see it, but it's clipped onto my shirt. Yep, I have an actual wireless microphone. I don't know how this actually sounds yet, but let me know what you think. Yeah, I really hope this comes out all right, but just let me know what you guys think. But yeah, anyway, so Donington Park GP, that was an entertaining trio of races. Of course, Jake Hill taking back the championship lead and now has a 9-point advantage over Tom Ingram going into the final 6 races of the season. Dan Camish finally getting his first win of 2024. Tyre stacks as well, but we'll get into that. But the main subject of this video today is that we're going to be talking about, in fact, we're going to be grading Dan Zelos's BTCC debut. So let's get straight into this. Now, of course, it was announced on the Wednesday before the Donington Park GP rounds that Dan Zelos would be making his BTCC debut at Donington Park, replacing Ronan Pearson, who, as we now know, has amicably split from Accelerate, but we do hope he will be back in 2025. Now, my personal expectations for Dan Zelos was to have a good qualifying and maybe get at least 1 points finish throughout the weekend, and he did much better than that. In terms of qualifying, I think he did all right. I think he did just about what I expected him to be. He unfortunately did not make it through to qualifying 2. He, in fact, I believe he was dead last in his group, but that's you know, about expected, I think. So overall he qualified P16, which in fact was really good. He out-qualified Nick Halstead, his teammate. No offence, but that's not hard. No offence to Nick, I know you're watching this. But yeah, P16 on debut, and the main aim, I'm sure, for Dan was to stay out of trouble. As he said on the pre-qualifying show, he actually said that he just wanted to finish all 3 races and bring the car home in one piece, and he certainly did that in his first race. He finished P12, which was a solid result for a BTCC debut. Of course, a couple of cars had some issues. Tom Chilton was getting in the walls. Andrew Watson had that big crash in race 1, taking out the tyre stacks again. That's probably a separate video for a separate day. And yeah, he made some solid overtakes as well when he was shown on TV, and he finished P12 on debut. So moving on to race 2, Dan, I believe, actually had a fairly quiet race in race 2. He only finished P13, which again, another solid point score. So that's 2 point scores out of 2 for Dan Zelos. So instantly he already smashed my expectations of him. I only expected him to score points in at least 1 race. But even so, to get 2 out of 2 so far is a solid debut. But then moving on to race 3, unfortunately, as we know, he missed out on the reverse grid draw by only finishing 13th, but even so, you could do a lot from P13, and given how chaotic and entertaining that last race was, I think there was no doubt he was set for another solid result. Dan Zelos, who started P13, dropped back a little bit at the start, which, you know, is fair for him. He did say he wanted to stay out of trouble. Obviously, a couple of things happened. A lot of things happened. In fact, Ash Sutton, who had won the second race of the day at Donington, actually DNF'd with, I believe, some broken suspension after, I believe, what is to be believed, a little running with Tom Chilton. So Tom Chilton being a solid number 2 driver to Tom Ingram. So yes, obviously Ash Sutton DNF'd. Aidan Moffat went off. Absolute chaos. We had a short little mini shower as well. Some rain fell down, and Tom Chilton and Nick Halstead actually went onto the wet tyres. Unfortunately, though, the rain did stop, and that was unfortunately the wrong call. We had Tom Ingram with that immense drive through the field. That was just unbelievable. I said it on Twitter after the race that was probably Tom Ingram's best ever drive. It's a drive that might have saved his championship after that DNF in race 2. That, yeah, if Tom Ingram does win the championship, it will probably be because of that drive at Donington race 3. That drive will hopefully be remembered for many, many years to come. But yeah, moving on swiftly back to Dan Zelos. As I mentioned, he stayed out of trouble. Kind of, because when he was shown on TV a little bit more in race 3, he was actually getting his elbows out and passing cars left, right and centre, and it meant that Dan Zelos actually finished P11 in race 3, his best, obviously his best career finish to date. So a P12, P13 and a P11. It's a solid debut, scoring, I believe 13 points. I think that's what it accumulates to. I believe 13 or 14 points. So I'll have to do some research, but I do know that he currently sits now 21st in the BTCC standings. Obviously, the only driver he is overtaking in the points is Nick Halstead. So now we get to the real question at hand. What grading would I give Dan Zelos? Now we're going to grade this similar to how I graded every other driver at my halfway point grading video. Please go check that out if you haven't already. I think it's a great watch. So obviously we're basing this on what his performance was compared to my personal expectations of him. And obviously, as we all know, my personal expectations of him was a decent qualifying and at least 1 point score. And Dan Zelos surpassed that. I think Zelos fully showed why he is deserving of a full-time BTCC drive. He is deserving. He's shown why he has been deserving of this for the past couple of years now. And it was just so glad to see. It's unknown if Dan Zelos will be the one to finish the season at Accelerate Motorsport, but if he does, it will be fully deserved, and I fully believe that Zelos will get a top 10 if he does finish the season. So now, my personal grading for Dan Zelos, well, I think there's no doubt about it. I'm going to give Dan Zelos an A+ for what is a solid debut. Obviously, it's not the best debut, but we're not here to compare himself to other rookies. We're not here to compare him against Ronan Pearson. I don't want to see anyone comparing the two because it's unfair. But yeah, based on my expectations of Dan Zelos, it's a solid A+. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. How would you rank Dan Zelos' BTCC debut? What grading would you give him? Compared to your personal expectations of him, let me know in the comments below. Of course, if you're new around here, be sure to like this video, share with your mates as well, because it of course does help my channel grow, and of course press that subscribe button because we are firmly on the road to 300 subscribers. And also let me know what you think of the new microphone. Personally, I like it because it's wireless, which means not only that, it's sort of noise cancelling a little bit, which means you should be able to hear me a little better when it comes to trackside videos, which hopefully I should have a trackside video planned for the end of September, because there is an event I'm planning to go to which should hopefully include a trackside video. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below about that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one. Goodbye.